Sekiza to the glory days at the stick. From who's got it better than us to brick by brick. It's always the 49ers way, from off-season to game day. Yeah, we talk back. It's the 49ers cutback.
It's 49ers Cutback Podcast time. I hope you're excited for this because I know I'm excited for this because I've been hearing a lot of breakdown of this topic about NKeal Harry, and I really want to get into it because I want to break down whether this makes a lot of sense for the 49ers or not.
But before we do that, urgent news and urgent message for all of you Cutback crew and first-timers to this podcast. You need to hit that subscribe button. Cutback crew, they're already doing it. We're 1,000 plus strong. They're on top of it. But for those of you it's your first time to this channel, hit that subscribe button right now. Join the Cutback crew today. That way you're notified every time these videos go live. You're the first ones in the comment section. You're the first one waiting for the live streams. You find out all about the merch drops when they come out. They're going to come out here on this channel. We're going to tease them all here, so you want to be a part of that. The best way to do that? Be a subscriber. Join the Cutback crew today. That way you're here for these type of topics right here, because this is a name that's getting thrown around a bunch. And just as it happened, the Niners also made a cut for Nathan Jerry. So now everyone thinks this is 100% the real thing. But we're here to give you the reasonings as to why or why not. Lay it all out there. So that way you're making rash decisions and rash judgments and jumping to logical conclusions rather than just crazy outlandish ones.
Yes, and I heard the instant reaction, and that's sometimes the instant reaction is the right one, and sometimes it's not. I like to think about things, really go over it. Went back and watched NKeal Harry video because the video doesn't lie. So you go back, I watched college video, went back and watched New England video, because one of the things that got brought up in the group chat that we're a part of right away was maybe he's just not a fit in New England. Maybe he needs to be in a different system. He could be better in a different system. I do think that is correct. He could be better in a different system. The argument I will make, though, that I just don't understand is the people that say, why not? Why not? It's only a 6th-round pick. Do it. It's a 6th-round pick. Well, we don't have a 6th-round pick, so that's why we don't do it, number one. But I will just say this, is that's never a good reason, right? Oh, 6th-round pick, he was a first-rounder automatically. Because just because you're a first-rounder doesn't mean you come in and you play like a first-rounder. A.J. Jenkins, first-round pick, yet no one in their right mind would trade a 6th-round pick for him. I know it's Chiefs traded a player for him, another bust, Baldwin, but that's a different story. So the first thing I will say is, you can't just trade compensation because a guy was a first-rounder. That makes zero sense to me.
No, not only does it not make sense to me or you or pretty much anyone that has an understanding of talent evaluation and scouting and things of that nature, it's rash. It's an extremely rash decision because there's nothing about what he's done on the field that makes you think he's worth a 6th-round pick. Because we took Jawan Jennings, a 7th-round pick guy, and I would say that he's probably on par with that. So you'd actually be giving up potentially more for a guy like NKeal Harry, who hasn't really proven anything in this league. And there's big concerns with this guy in terms of separation. That is a big red flag for me, right? Kevin White's of the world. We've watched a lot of tape on Kevin White. Again, another guy who in college looked phenomenal, got in the NFL. I don't know what happened. I really don't know what happened because he was an elite level athlete at college, and you think some of those things would translate over. Yes, maybe he struggles with certain route running aspects, but you would believe he'd still be able to pull away from some of the slower guys in the league, and he can't pull away from anybody. NKeal Harry has been nicked up and dinged up and had a lot of injuries, so maybe he's just a step slower than he was in college, and that can be a big, huge difference. But he's got to be able to beat somebody, right? And I can't find clips anywhere of NKeal Harry beating anybody.
You're talking about a guy that ran a 4.5 40, but he doesn't look like he's as fast as Deebo Samuel, who ran a legit 4.5 and 4.9 in his runs at the combine. So yes, he's slower. When you're thinking about him, I'm going to describe a player, and you tell me who you think it is.
Okay.
He's big and physical.
Okay.
Slower than you would like him to be. Struggles with separation, but wins on contested catches, bullies to get first downs, plays physical, and can be a red zone threat. And tell me who I'm talking about.
Kelvin Benjamin? I mean, I keep thinking of guys like Jawan Jennings who are on the roster already. Man, I don't. Let's put it this way: I don't think first round talent.
Yeah, and what I'm bringing up, the reason I brought it up too is, I just described a guy that is NKeal Harry, but also could be Jawan Jennings. So it's not like there's any one thing that he does that separates him from Jawan Jennings. You brought up Jawan Jennings, and I think that's a fair comparison.
It is.
Because we've seen what he can do. The question is, what can Jawan Jennings do? Since we haven't seen him in preseason, we don't know it on an NFL level, but we do know on an NFL level what NKeal Harry has done so far, and it hasn't been a whole lot, and you will consistently see him get ran down from behind. Consistently. The one thing I saw brought up by some of the pundits, 49er pundits that are on the social medias and stuff, is that NKeal Harry can do all the gadget stuff that Deebo Samuel does, that Jalen Hurd can do, and all that. No, he can't. Okay, that he cannot do. In the 49er system, and this is what his actual role should be in the NFL, it should be a possession receiver who plays in the slot and is a power slot that could possibly cause problems in the red zone. But I don't know if he's worth a move with a draft pick when you probably already got a couple of guys that can do it at a similar or better level than he can.
If there was better tape on NKeal Harry, this would be a no-brainer, but there isn't. And because there isn't, the only reason that they should be doing this is if it's going to be a situation where he's cut and the 49ers are able to go out and snatch him up and no one else does. And we all know that's just not going to be the case. If this guy gets cut, there is going to be another team that's going to swoop in for his services that is desperate at the wide receiver position. Because I hate to break it to 49ers fans, we aren't desperate at the wide receiver position.
No.
Could we upgrade? Of course. You can always upgrade and get better, but we're not desperate. This isn't a few years ago, right? Where you got to the midway point of the season, we're like, hey, we need to go make a move at wideout to bolster this receiving core. We're barring injury, and we talked about this on the live stream this past Friday. So if you missed those, make sure you join us at 5:30 p.m. on Friday. They're a lot of fun. But you brought this up on the live stream, right? That at the end of the day, this receiving core you believe is going to stay healthy.
I do.
You're if you could put money down on it, you would.
I would.
The only way this makes sense is barring catastrophic injury. And I just don't see the 49ers taking that risk at this position, at this point, when you have a lot of unproven unknowns who could be as good, if not better, than what NKeal Harry can bring right now.
I think they could bring him in if they could get him for a 7th round pick. I think if they could get him for a 7th round pick, you have 3 next year. So you could do that, and you could bring him in, and you can have him compete with Jawan Jennings, with Mohamed Sanu.
There's no way Belichick gives him up for a 7th. There's no way.
Well, it all depends, right? They are definitely down on him. Just think about this. Kendrick Bourne was the 3rd best receiver on the 49ers.
He's going to be like the 1st or 2nd for...
Well, they brought him in there, right? They think NKeal Harry's worse than him. So we're not getting somebody that is a Kendrick Bourne level. We're getting somebody that's
worse than Kendrick
Bourne. And that's why I didn't understand why people thought we were going to get Kendrick Bourne-like stats from him if we brought him in. That didn't make sense to me. And I liked him coming out of college.
I still think he has better hands, but the problem is in order to catch footballs consistently in the league, you have to get open.
Yeah. I mean, the separation isn't there.
No.
Kyle could scheme him open. That's 100%. That could happen.
Kyle can scheme me open, and I'm slow.
Yeah, and I think that we're still arguing over who's going to be the 3rd receiver on the team, and I'm telling you, it's Jalen Hurd. Jalen Hurd is the 3rd best receiver on the team. And so, do we want to stack guys that are similar? Because think about this. We're talking about a possession receiver. Jalen Hurd is a great possession receiver, but can also run after the catch, can break tackles, and you can move him all over the place and do other things. So he's already right ahead of NKeal Harry right away because he can do so much more. Yes, people can talk to me about the health all they want.
NKeal Harry has
health issues too. We're on the same page. We're definitely yelling down the same hall on that one. And so that is true. And then when you look at it now, you got Mohamed Sanu. Sanu understands this offense, and he already does. He's done better than NKeal Harry ever did. Yeah, and I don't think Mohamed Sanu is slower than NKeal Harry, which is kind of scary.
Can we also point out that Mohamed Sanu last year on film got open multiple times and caught a couple touchdown passes in which he was wide open on short intermediate routes across the middle of the field. You know, the things the 49ers love to do.
Yeah. I just think that if you're bringing this guy in, the 7th round pick is what you're doing because you're bringing someone in that's competing with Jawan Jennings or one of those guys for one of those
that feels
4th, 5th. I mean, really 5th, 6th, or 7th. Wide receiver, not 7th, really 5th or 6th.
That seems like a bad move.
It seems like a lateral move, right?
Yeah,
you're moving, just getting a younger player is what you're doing.
Yeah, unless Shanahan and Lynch know something that everyone else doesn't, I don't see this happening.
Yeah.
This seems like the least likely thing that the 49ers would do. Again, if this team was desperate for wide receiver talent, was desperate, Deebo Samuel wasn't panning out, there were a bunch of injuries right now, the Niners were desperate at the wide receiver position, this move makes sense. It makes sense. It 100% does. That's not this team right now.
And it could make sense in training camp, if somebody struggles or gets hurt, maybe Jennings isn't catching the ball, Jalen Hurd's not ready to go, then yeah, that would make sense. I don't foresee any of those things coming, and I foresee there being, I guess you want a little bit of different, aspects to the receiving core. You don't want a bunch of guys that do the same things. To me, he's a redundant player. That you already have guys that do what he can do on the roster, so adding him would be redundant.
And I mean, if there's one thing that will very quickly sink the hopes of a team or franchise or an organization, it's becoming stagnant in terms of growth, player development, and things of that nature. If you're bringing this guy in because there's still high upside there and you can get something out of it, that's great.
Yeah.
But you need to show where that is. We got plenty of seasons of NKeal Harry tape and NKeal Harry injuries. Now, we had enough of NKeal Harry to know there's something not right. This team we're not in that type of position right now where that risk can be taken.
Yeah.
And so, like you said, barring someone just absolutely pooping the bed in training camp and preseason here, barring that, this isn't happening in San Francisco. He's not a fit. I don't think this is even something the Niners are even considering. I think they enjoy the fact that the name's getting thrown out there because now it makes the rest of the NFC West teams have to sit there and go, are we missing something?
Yeah.
Should we be targeting this guy? And I think that's the only good thing right now about the 49ers being in the position that they're in, right? Is every time there's a potential free agent or trade target, the Niners get named, they get targeted, they get pinned, and the rest of the NFC West has to start asking questions. And they have to start doing some research. And they may be the ones who pull the trigger on something, and maybe it ends up panning out for them, and maybe it blows up in their face. I hope it's the latter. I really do.
Yeah, they always do get mentioned.
Yeah.
And what we got to remember is part of the reason they're getting mentioned is they were interested in NKeal Harry in the draft.
Mm-hmm.
That's 100% accurate. Well, a lot has changed since then. Number one, in that exact draft, they drafted Deebo Samuel and Jalen Hurd. So they obviously filled those positions.
Correct.
Also, along the way, NKeal Harry had 12 catches his rookie season. Not exactly gangbusters after what you saw what Deebo Samuel did. Then, last year, they added a former teammate of his, Brandon Ayuk. And Brandon Ayuk had a big rookie season, which NKeal Harry didn't. So you've drafted 3 receivers, and just the 3 I've named, not to mention Jawan Jennings, who does something similar to what he does. So things have changed. They're not going to have the same interest in NKeal Harry they did then. Is there interest? Probably. They'll probably look at it, see what's there.
They're definitely going to
Yeah.
Knowing Kyle Shanahan, they are going to call. There is a relationship there with Belichick. They'll call and ask.
Yeah.
Inquire. But, I mean, they inquired about Teddy Bridgewater, too. The 49ers do this.
Well,
They're gauging everyone else's interest. And, they may make an offer intentionally just to drive up the market on it a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I think they'll reach out, and if it's a 7th round pick, that's the only way I see it as a possibility. But he's not going to come in there and just make this roster. He's going to have to compete with these other guys, and we have guys that possibly could beat him out. I wouldn't mind seeing how he matches up with the Jawan Jennings because I think they are very favorable to each other and comparable. And I actually like the dog that's in Jawan Jennings a little bit more than NKeal Harry.
Yeah, there's a dog in him for sure. Don't like that dog personally as a Florida Gator fan, but it's fine. Jawan Jennings, that's the past, right? He's in San Francisco now. Put that to benefit for this team. I hope he's able to fix some of the drop issues. He can stay healthy as well. It's going to be great to see.
Huge OTAs.
Yeah, it's going to be great to see him and Jalen Hurd on the field this year, getting a lot of reps and run this preseason. Man, it's going to be exciting. Jalen Hurd, stay healthy, please.
Get your 14 and 15 jerseys.
14 for sure. 15, we'll get there. It's going to take some time. I'll come around. But 14, I'm already ready. I got my finger hovering over the order button as soon as they go live. So it's gonna be a good time.
I'm sure Gary's gonna get his Travis Benjamin jersey.
Definitely not gonna get his Travis Benjamin jersey. Definitely not. He's really hoping that they never release it, right? And that's what Gary wants. Listen, let us know what you think about this down below. Are we just dead wrong? Right, NKeal Harry makes all the sense in the world, and we're just off the rocker, off the reservation. Or do you agree with us? You don't think this is an option. It only makes option under certain circumstances. We want to hear from you. We always love hearing from chat and the Cutback crew specifically. You guys have been fantastic, supporting us along the way. So join the community today. hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell if you haven't already. Share this video with the rest of the 49ers faithful. Let's grow this community even larger. Let's make these conversations even better than they already are. We love to hear from all of you.
Yeah, let us know what you think about NKeal Harry. I think everyone has an opinion on this, and maybe we brought up points that you weren't thinking about. Maybe you have some points that we didn't mention that you would like to bring up. Bring them up in the comment section so we can have a nice conversation about this, because I never think it's just straight cut and dry. But once again, I always let the film, kind of speak to me and show me what I'm talking about. Like I said, I liked him coming out of college. I watched a couple college games again, watched a couple New England games again, and I will say that the speed is definitely not translated to the NFL, and that scares the living bejesus out of me. And so I don't like making moves like this when I got somebody comparable already on my roster.
Sir? It's fair indeed. Make sure you visit the merch shop link in the description down below so you can cop that sweet gear right over there that our man Ant's got on. It's incredible. You want to join the Cutback community. You want to rep the Cutback everywhere you go in your daily life. We know you do. So make sure you go cop yourself some nice Cutback gear. And until next time, 49ers fans, you stay safe.
And remember, the right way is always the 49ers way.
And run, catch, block, fear nothing.